All right, kids, this is another episode of the 10-minute round. So I was talking a little bit of smack about last weekend's card. I said it wasn't going to be good. I was wrong in the sense that there was a lot of finishes. Even the ladies were finishing. There's no more certain bet in MMA than betting on a women's fight to go to decision. And yet out of like the 3 female fights on last weekend's card, 2 of them ended in a finish. Obviously, I don't know a whole lot about women finishing. I hope to find out more about it someday. Regardless, we're going to move forward this Saturday. This video is kind of late. It's a little late in the week. Saturday morning, at least here, stateside, Saturday afternoon, I guess, probably. We have a really, really good fight card coming up out of the O2 Arena in London. We got Leon Edwards is fighting Sean Brady in the main event. So originally his opponent was supposed to be Jack Della Maddalena, Crooked Nose Jack, or whatever his name is. The UFC moved Jack to fight Bilal Muhammad once Shavkat could not do it because he is injured. They had to look around the welterweight division and be like, who can we replace JDM with that's also going to have a crooked nose? And they're like, we got the guy, Sean Brady. Honestly, I'm pretty stoked for this fight. I feel like JDM and Sean Brady are 2 like newer top 5 welterweights. They're kind of the new guard for this division. And Leon Edwards, former champion, he lost his belt to Bilal Muhammad pretty recently. But here's the thing about Leon Edwards is I think skill for skill, Leon Edwards is one of the best fighters, not only in the welterweight division. I think he's one of the best fighters in the entirety of the UFC, in MMA, really. Like skill for skill, the dude, he's got like devastating kicks. Those things are just nasty. His hands leave a little bit of power to be desired, but he kind of makes up for it when the fight is in close. He's got a lot of good elbows. He's got a lot of good knees, trips, throws. Like he really just overloads the senses of his opponent. It all works so well for him. Like he's so good. And yet the one weakness that Leon Edwards has is like the mental game. Like he has these mental lapses, and a few examples of Leon and his mental lapses in the last fight against Bilal Muhammad. I think a lot of people we look back at that one and think that like Bilal dominated the fight, but he didn't really. It was actually a much closer fight. I think maybe like a bunch of the scorecards were like 48-47. Like his corner, Leon's corner is just begging him to do anything. And we've seen that before out of Leon's corner is in between rounds. They give him instructions. They're trying to beg him to go out there and do Leon Edwards stuff. And he just goes out there and he doesn't do it. It worked out for him in the second Kamaru Usman fight. He was losing the fight. He had lost rounds 2, 3, and 4. And it led to this great MMA moment where pull it out of the fire, Leon, or whatever his coach was saying. And he got the KO, and it was amazing, and it was one of the greatest championship comeback KOs we've ever seen, and it was fantastic. But you can't hang your hat on that happening every time. Like you can't. You can't do that at the championship level. You just can't. It was the same thing with the Bilal Muhammad. The Bilal Muhammad fight, he was down. He was down on the scorecards. He had won like round 3, round 1, if I remember correctly, was pretty close. But he needed to go out there and pretty much get a finish by round 5. And he eventually in round 5, like he got top position. He just elbowed the shit out of Bilal Muhammad, opened up a pretty nice cut on him. But it was just like, it was too little too late, And part of like the mental weakness thing is like, the whole idea of like, well, I had to walk out for my fight at like 5 a.m. It's like, yeah, dude, it sucks. I don't think that a champion should have to defend his belt in the middle of the night or like way early morning in his own hometown. But at the same time, it's like, you're the champion. You know months in advance that this is when the walkout's going to be. This is when you are going to be fighting. You need to prepare accordingly because you are the guy. I'm not going to give him too much shit about it. I know it's a shitty situation, and at least this card on Saturday is like, at a reasonable hour in London. Like, it's pretty early here. I think the prelims start at like 10 a.m. on the West Coast, so maybe he'll, we won't have that excuse for this one. But how does like this matchup against Sean Brady go? Like I said, I think Leon Edwards is very talented, but the blueprint to beat Leon Edwards is out there. Like, I feel like Bilal Muhammad saw where he is, what his weaknesses are. Like, he just doesn't do well under pressure. Like, you got to be in his face. And I think, to his credit, Sean Brady has the skill set to do that against Leon Edwards. Like, Sean Brady has good boxing. He's a fantastic grappler. I think he can take, there's a good possibility he can take Leon Edwards down. Just depends on what version of Leon Edwards comes out. But Sean Brady is a fantastic grappler. Like, the dude is a problem. If he stays in Leon Edwards' face and he does not give him any space, he does not give him room to breathe, like, the idea, the blueprint that you can mentally break Leon Edwards is there. And so it is up to Leon Edwards' team and up to Leon Edwards himself. Like, what the strategy is going to be against you at this point. You know what this guy's going to try to do to you. So what are you going to do to stop that? For Sean Brady, he cannot be fighting the fight at Leon's range. You can't fight Leon Edwards at the kicking range because he's just going to pop you with some devastating kicks. Those things, the damage of those things, like, it builds up over time. It makes people gun shy. So from the very first 10 seconds of the fight, Sean Brady has to go out there and he has to be in Leon Edwards' face, and that's just how the fight has to go. Can he do that? I kind of think he can. I think the problem here, though, is, and maybe this is just me, like, maybe I'm thinking too much with like my heart instead of my head, because realistically, like, all the things that I've said, I should be picking Sean Brady to win this fight on Saturday. And I think he's very capable of it. But I feel like Leon Edwards, at his very best, beats anyone at 170. Like, if we get even if we get like the 90% Leon Edwards, I think he can beat most welterweights. And is that what we're going to get? I kind of think we are, because if he don't win this one, you're probably, it's going to push you further away from that title shot. I think he's going to be motivated. It's his home crowd again. It's Sean Brady that has to do the traveling. It's Sean Brady that has to adjust his clock to this fight. There's more factors for Sean Brady to deal with that, aren't just specifically the fight. So I'm going to go with Leon Edwards in this one. I know it might be crazy, even though, like, this whole little breakdown that I've just done, and I've said, how Sean Brady can easily win this fight. Not easily, but, it's there. The strategy is there. But I think Leon Edwards is going to adjust. I think he's an incredibly talented mixed martial artist, and I feel like he's going to pull this one out. So I'm going to take Leon Edwards by decision. I might regret that one, but that's what I'm going to do. So we'll see. We'll see if that's how it plays out. But this card's a fucking banger, dude. It's so stacked. The co-main event, look, it's the return of Jan Blachowicz. I'm a Jan Blachowicz fan, I'm not going to lie. Any dude who likes video games as much as Jan and then goes out there and still beats the shit out of people, I'm on your side. But he's coming off a long layoff. It's been like almost 2 years since he lost that split decision to Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira, we've seen the run that he's on. It's no shame in losing to Alex Pereira, but Jan is 42 years old now, and the UFC is not really doing him any favors. They are throwing Carlos Ulberg at him, city kickboxing guy, Carlos Ulberg, and he's just like been rocketing up the light heavyweight division. Mind you, most shallow division probably in the entire UFC. But Carlos Ulberg has been putting some wins together. He's been finishing a lot of guys. He's only 34 years old, a pretty good age for, the light heavyweight division. There's a lot of things that Jan does well. His leg kicks are devastating. He's a good grappling. He's got power. He's got that Polish power. He does a lot of good things, but 2 years off, 42 years old, it's just not something that I can like hang my hat on. You got this pretty fast light heavyweight striker in Carlos Ulberg. I would not be surprised if Ulberg goes out there, puts it on him pretty quickly, and gets him out of there within like the first or second round. I don't know. I'm not even super high on like Ulberg as a fighter, but like his level of competition is kind of like this is by far the best guy he's fought, but he's got all the momentum on his side. So I got to take Ulberg coming back at 42 years old. Like it's a tough one to bet on. So I'm gonna go with Carlos Ulberg here, and we'll see how that one goes. But it's not the co-main event. Like, it's cool, but there's other fights on here that I'm really excited about. Another like really impossible fight for me to pick right now is Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Nelson. We got Kevin Holland going back to the welterweight division after like another run at middleweight. He's fighting Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson, I was a big Gunnar Nelson fan back in the day, but Gunnar Nelson, like the only thing more inconsistent than the way that Kevin Holland fights is Gunnar Nelson just fighting in general. Like, the dude gets like, I think since 2020 he's maybe had 2 or 3 fights. Like, I don't know, he doesn't fight often. Kevin Holland, he's a guy who just goes into the cage and he's so inconsistent. I have no idea what's going to happen in this fight. Is it going to be a good fight? Probably. We've seen Kevin Holland get dominated by guys who can take the top position on him, kind of out-grapple him, and I think Gunnar Nelson is an incredibly talented grappler. He's very good in that department. It's been like a decade since he got worked by Damian Maia on the floor. The man's probably learned a lot more jiu-jitsu since then. I think if Gunnar Nelson can go out there, get top position, he can probably make pretty quick work of Kevin Holland. I don't know what's up with Kevin Holland. He seemed like he was like a talented dude coming into the UFC, and just, I don't know, he's just never really been able to put it together enough, and he's really just kind of been on this downward spiral lately in his career. So I'm gonna tentatively go with Gunnar Nelson in this one. I think the takedown and then the top control, the grappling, I really think that he could probably submit Kevin Holland. So that's what we're going to do. We also got Meatball Molly is fighting on this one. I'm not super stoked about Meatball Molly's fights. I know she's a bit of a fan favorite overseas. Cool. I just never really saw her as like a super talented lady. I know she got pretty yoked. Like the last few times we've seen her, she definitely kind of seems like she's taking training very seriously and really wants to succeed. But her original opponent was like 6-5, and now she's going to fight a girl who is coming off the Contender series. I don't know a lot about her, just being honest. But this girl that she's fighting is like 11-1. So going from fighting the gimme fight of you're getting the girl that's 6-5 to fighting the girl that's 11-1, there seems like there might be some danger there. Why is this girl 11-1? Is it just like the level of competition that she's been fighting? But then again, is this girl going to be, short notice, bright lights? You're fighting Meatball's hometown crowd. Are you ready for that? So I have no idea how this fight's going to go, but it's a lady fight. We're just going to say it's going to go to decision. We're just going to do that. So let's stick to that. The one fight that I'm really excited about that I think is probably going to win the fight of the night. It's up there, contender for fight of the night for sure. Early favorite for me. Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charry. I don't know. It's French. Charry. I don't know how I'm supposed to say it. But this fight, these two dudes. So you got Nathaniel Wood, former 135-pounder Nathaniel Wood. I do think he is kind of small for 145, but the kid is talented. He's kind of made up for the lack of size with just pure skill. Like, he's good everywhere, and he's fighting Morgan Charry, who's like this incredible like French kickboxer. Like, I mean, his MMA record leaves a little something to be desired. He's like 20-10, so there's definitely like weaknesses there, but he's really, really, really good at the stand-up. He's devastating in the stand-up. He's got finishing power on the feet. And so it's up to Nathaniel Wood, who is the more well-rounded mixed martial artist, to go out there with a good strategy and try to beat this guy in front of his hometown crowd. I think this is going to be an excellent fight. I'm very excited. I honestly can't confidently bet against Morgan Shuri, but I'm going to go with Nathaniel Wood. Maybe it's like I like them both, so it's really hard for me to pick, but this fight is going to be very, very good. I'm very excited about this one. So, and plus, Nathaniel Wood, like, he was this prospect that just had a lot of hype behind him, and he's been kind of quiet in the UFC. Like he's managed to put together like a little win streak. I think maybe he's got 3 in a row now, but he's been kind of quiet for like the expectations that everyone had of him coming in. This might be like a nice little showcase fight if he can beat a guy like Morgan Shuri. And finally, a couple of fights to keep an eye on, a couple of fighters to keep an eye on. I think his name is Lonier Kavanaugh. I always forget how to say this. Lonier Kavanaugh. He's a kid who's been a lifelong martial artist. He's another Contender Series guy. I believe he has 1 win in the UFC, but he's a kid that is just good everywhere. He's very young. I think he's like 24 years old and has just been doing martial arts forever. He's incredibly talented. He's fighting Felipe Dos Santos in this one. I'm taking Kavanaugh. I think the kid he's an absolute talent. I think he has a very high ceiling, and I'm very excited to see like where he takes this. Like, he is an excellent fighter, and he's on the prelims of this card, I believe. So check that one out. And then besides that, Mick Parkin, which is Tom Aspinall's training partner, his undefeated heavyweight training partner. He's fighting Marcin Tybura, definitely his stiffest test. Mick Parkin is 10-0. He's got good stand-up. This is by far his most difficult fight. Marcin Tybura, he's no punk. He'll go out there and get wins off of guys. So it's actually a really good test for Mick Parkin. So we'll see how that one plays out. I'm excited about this card. I'm going to be real. My girlfriend wants to drag me to a baby shower that, given the choice, I'd rather watch the fights than go to a baby shower. So I think what this is going to result in is I'll be at this baby shower. I'm probably going to drink way too much. I'm going to be just absolutely just hammered, and I'm going to have my phone playing the fights. I'm probably not going to be paying attention to what's going on around me. I'm just going to be focused on the fights, and I'm super stoked. I apologize for releasing these episodes pretty late. I'm just going to be real. Like, I've been playing a lot of MLB The Show, a lot of Monster Hunter. I'm procrastinating like crazy on these things just because I'm over here just, trying to have a good time. I'm trying to have a good time. So hopefully, that April 12th card I'm really stoked about. So I'll try to pick it up a little bit, We'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to probably go back to playing video games. So I'll catch you later. Thank you. Peace.